Welcome to the Growers Mineral Podcast. This episode features audio from our most recent conference call. Each month, we host a live discussion on Zoom, bringing together farmers, agronomists, and industry experts to share insights on soil health, crop nutrition, and sustainable farming practices. For more information about Growers Mineral or to join our next call, visit growersmineral.com. And now, enjoy the discussion.
All right, sounds good, Jim. I see a lot of people unmuted and whatnot, so if it gets to be a little bit of feedback, I'll go ahead and mute you. So just be aware of that if you're going to be speaking soon. So with that, welcome to the conference call for November. And ready to kick things off, Jim?
Yep.
All
Thanks,
right,
Russ.
take it away.
So what we've been doing is following the Growers Mineral Solutions calendar. And if you look at the 2025 calendar, the November lead picture is discussing the production of oxygen from Christmas trees. And Chris Coles and I, we were on a Christmas tree farm, which is a pumpkin farm and several other things also that belongs to Randy Granger. And that was one of the signs that he had hanging up. And that just really appealed to Chris, and he took a picture of it. And, he ships me all the pictures when he goes to the field. And I found it very interesting. So I put it into the calendar, and it's kind of the way growers guys think about this, the conservation approach to farming, and pretty well nails it right on the head right there. So I thought we'd make a little trip to New York, and we've had Randy on before, talked about his farm, and since it was his picture, I felt we needed to go ahead and let him talk about that and give us some idea of how he uses the growers program. A thing that's very, I think, beneficial is I'm getting a lot of feedback from old customers, new customers, talking about pumpkins, and several guys that have other fruits or vegetables that really didn't give the pumpkin crop much credibility in their offspring that they're working with, or their son-in-law thought it would be something to pursue, and man, it's got their attention. So I thought this would be a very nice time to let Randy get on and just tell us something about his operation. He's also in the ag entertainment, and we've got quite a few guys in the organization, and they're doing that type of thing too. And so this would give them something to work with or listen to also. So Randy, I'm gonna let you lead this thing off, and just go ahead and tell these guys where you're at, and what you're doing in your operation, and talk about how you use growers, how you use the calcium, and just pretty well give us a summary of what you're up to. And introduce yourself so that who we are and where you're located.
Okay, Jim, I'm Randy Granger, and have a place in Mexico, New York, which is around 30 miles north of Syracuse, New York. We're only about 2.5 miles as a crow flies from Lake Ontario, just on the southern tip. We milk cows for 25 years, but in 1986, when a lot of other farmers went out, we did, but we kept the farm, and I started planting Christmas trees. And then in about 15 years ago, we started planting pumpkins. So we do the pumpkins and Christmas trees, and with the growers, it's very beneficial for actually both crops, because I also raise my own tree seedlings, and I use them when they're very small. And I notice the bud set we get is just tremendous, which, you've got to get a good start on anything, especially Christmas trees. With the pumpkins, it just works fantastic. I mean, you got that leaf area and a big, huge plant. And especially this summer, it shined because we had one of the driest on record. I mean, we didn't get any really measurable rain for almost 2 months. we get a tenth here, 2/10 there. And I was spraying with growers every 5 to 7 days with my stylet oil for powdery mildew. And because I knew they weren't going to get much out of the ground. And I couldn't believe it. And end of August, when those leaves started to die back, we had 40, 45, 50, even a few 60-pound pumpkins. So a lot of guys around here just use the old dry formula. Some guys didn't even get crops. And if somebody wanted a top dress with dry, you couldn't this year. You didn't have enough moisture to work it in. So the growers really shined this year. And as far as calcium goes, we usually try to, if I turn a field over from trees into pumpkins, I try to put on at least 10, 12 ton per acre the year before we plant. And I strip till my pumpkins, and I put in some nitrogen at the beginning, and I try to put in about 4 ton in furrow before I spade my drop spreader of lime. So calcium, I'm pelletized. So I'm a big believer in the calcium, especially for pumpkins being a large fruit. I've found, they just don't rot. They last and last, and the handles are tremendous. So growers is, I think it's perfect fit for pumpkins.
What do you do? Hey, do you put any, when you plant the pumpkins, do you use any starter growers at that time?
Yes, I did a couple experiments. I found a real, instead of putting as much dry fertilizer in, when I run my first pass of strip till, I put growers in at about the 6 to 8 inch level.
I gotcha. Do you use any water with that then?
Yes, a little bit. I sometimes maybe might think it might go a little strong with the growers, but I figure being with the roots and being that far down, I've never had any issues.
Gotcha. It's been okay for you.
Yep.
Now on your limestone, what's your source, and is it reliable? Has that been a problem finding the calcium?
No, not at all. It comes out of Syracuse, New York, and
I gotcha.
And it's gone up a lot in the last few years. In fact, I just turning 10 acres of what were trees into pumpkins, and it's been about 3 years since I bought some limestone, and I said, how much this year? And boy, it went up, I don't know, $8-10 a ton in a couple of years. And I said, well, it's got to be done.
Mm-hmm. So when you apply calcium, are you working it in then? Is that your normal protocol?
Yes. I have, it's a spader. It's a Italian machine. It comes out of Iowa City.
Mm-hmm.
Is the dealer, and it gives me a 28-inch width. So that's where I plan into. Everything else I leave behind. I think that's what really helped me this year. Also, we didn't plow and disturb that soil, and I always have a nice heavy cover crop on there, so we have more moisture that way than working it up. So I'm just working that 28-inch band. That's why I can kind of go a little heavy on that pelletized line right in that one spot in my nutrition. Makes a nice seed bed.
You're basically a strip till is what you're doing.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. So now when you put that big blast on, you're just basically bulk spreading that over the whole acreage, correct?
No,
Like
the line. Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, the calcium. Yes. Oh, yeah. We're bulking it now. In certain areas, obviously in between the rows, I don't work it in, but where we're actually that seed bed for the 28-inch width is being worked in, and I go down anywhere between 8 and 9 inches with the spader.
Gotcha. Yeah. So one thing I'd like you to chat a little bit about is your ag entertainment and how that's gone for you, and has it led you off in another direction, or just give us your feelings on that if you could.
Yeah. Well, if I was going to do pumpkins, that was actually incorporated from the beginning. I'm not that smart to find out, but I know what the apple growers have done in this area for a long time and things like that, but no one was doing it with pumpkins or Christmas trees. So I've incorporated that. We do our most popular, well, the two things we really rely on are our baby goats. We always make sure we breed our goats in April, so they come in September, and so the people and the kids, they can sit down and hold and pet a baby goat. We'll usually have anywhere from 15 to 20. That's just a huge hit. And then our corn maze is becoming a little bit famous. We don't have, it's kind of geared towards 4 to 12-year-olds. I want nothing to do with teenagers. Teenagers don't spend money. All they do is destroy. So I want mommy happy with pictures. If you make mommy happy, everybody's happy.
I getcha.
So we have a lot of props in there and different themes. Some are on the humorous side. For example, we did a zombie restroom with a animated zombie going back and forth with the farts and the poop sounds and all that. And that's bathroom humor is always a hit. So we do a lot of cute things like that.
What's your opinion? Is there anything that if a guy is looking at trying to do ag entertainment, what should he not do?
The first thing he's got to think about is the labor issue.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get into too many things. Do a few things, but do them well. See what your competition is doing, like the corn maze we have. People have these big corn mazes that get lost and things. And once somebody's done that, they don't want to do it again. They've done it once. Mm-hmm. So we gear towards, more of a not getting lost, but entertaining photo ops. Everyone's got a camera now on them, and photos are huge. I mean, there's some people just come out and, they literally will take 100 photos here, but with the baby goats, with, next to Superman and the corn maze and the pumpkin patch. We'll have 10,000 pumpkins out there, and people are like, wow, their kids will get by them. They take photos. So I would look at the aspect of labor, because especially in the fall, especially around here, you can get, do you open? Do you not open? Is it rainy? Is it not rainy? Where we open with the whole operation, we only have to hire 5 people.
Wow.
So we can, if it's raining, we'll still open. We can just run it with, the 3-4 family members. So I would just not get into too many different things. I know some guys have come here and they're saying, they're putting zip lines, they're doing this. And it just, sometimes I think it might better just concentrate on a few things, especially I'm finding farm oriented, like walking through corn, holding a baby goat. People want to come out and experience those things. They want a farm feel, not a carnival feel.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very good. Very good. So just chat a little bit about the pumpkin quality. That's the thing that when guys are looking at, working with pumpkins, what are the key factors there as far as quality is concerned? And what is the key factor? The calcium, the growers, the combination? Just chat a little bit about your pumpkin quality.
Well, I think it's a combination because, I've learned over the years that calcium on any kind of fruit, but you have a 50-pound pumpkin it takes some nutrients to do that. And in our situation, especially, some wholesalers of pumpkins, maybe not as worried about that because they're moving them, around Labor Day early. We're all retail. We do, we're growing between 30 and 40 acres, but we're all retail. So they have to last because our busiest weeks are, the first or second week in October. So you've got to make sure they last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point, because I've seen some of those retail boys, and man, some of that stuff is not, it's not very reliable as you get toward the end of the season. So.
No, that's what I found. Yeah, that's why with the growers and things, and the calcium it has, it's the combination. You have to get the nutrients, especially in any kind of stressful year. Especially this year, like I said, was being so dry here. I was just amazed at how big, just the quality of the handles were on those pumpkins. So we had pumpkins right up to the last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Now, is that your normal protocol when you're out, spraying a fungicide or an insecticide? You usually have growers mixed with it?
Every time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I'm doing an insecticide, maybe after all the plants are in the pumpkins, no, obviously. But everything else, we start right from the beginning. They go hand in hand. And I use a stylet oil, JMS stylet oil for my powdery mildew, and it just seems to really work very well I mean, I'm not an expert, but I think it's that mineral oil really binds to that leaf, and with that growers in there, they just seem to really pop.
All righty. Hey, Randy, I really appreciate it. That gives these guys I know some of the new guys that want to get on and listen to you. That gives them something to shoot with, and that gives me some information when I can talk with these guys. So, hey, I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
So, hey, Larry Eckhardt, are you available? You unmuted?
I'm right here. Go ahead.
So I'm traveling with John Sensenik, and we stopped to see. Um, uh, John was talking about Kinderhook Farm, and it wasn't a nasty day, but it wasn't the greatest day either. And so we ended up in the shop. Holy moly! I was just totally ashamed of myself when I saw the way Larry's boy keeps his shop. I mean, you could be eating your lunch off of the floor. So we sat down and just talked about agriculture as a whole and how we got started. And the next day, we stayed in that area, and then we came back and got some sweet corn, and I took that back to Ohio with me. So, Larry, if you can introduce yourself, talk about your farm, what you guys are up to,
Sure.
what you do, with calcium, with the growers, and anything that you think would be of interest to guys. We just had a fantastic conversation when we were there together, John and I. So I'm just going to turn it over to Larry and let him run with it.
Sure. And I remember that conversation. I enjoyed it as well. And to tell you a little bit about Kinderhook Creek Farm, we're located right on the Massachusetts border. If you look at a map and the three corners of New York, Vermont, and Massachusetts, we're about 10 miles south of those three corners, just inside the New York border. So we're the Taconic Mountains, the Berkshire Mountains, and we're not quite to the Green Mountains of Vermont, but we're not very far. Bennington's about 40 minutes. Pittsfield, Massachusetts is literally 20 minutes. We're closer to Boston than we are to Syracuse, and we utilize those big metropolitan areas, despite the fact that they send us some of the less than knowledgeable agricultural people who buy the land around here, that it's still an area where people have considerable financial means. And my boys and I have always sort of said our process here is to get the money out of their wallet and put it in our wallet. And sometimes that's a little bit of a challenge with the weather that we have and some of the wildlife we deal with. And probably our biggest threat right now, besides losing land to development, is wildlife. We cannot seem to control deer, bear, wild turkeys, and birds very, very easily, especially deer and bear. Um, Black bears are becoming an extreme problem in many of our crops, but sweet corn, they just love sweet corn. They'll pig down bushels of fresh market sweet corn in a night and roll down an area the size of a driveway on a nightly basis if we can't keep them out. So, but in our fertility program, our basic purpose for growers has been twofold. One, we use it almost all the time, just like Randy was talking about putting on foliar whenever we do a fungicide or an insecticide treatment on our pumpkins or on our sweet corn. We'll have a gallon, maybe 2 gallons of growers solution in with the rest of the products. And grower seems to work extremely well, compatibility wise with just about everything we use. The most important part is to test your water to make sure it is compatible with the product. and that you do a little jar test to make sure whatever you're mixing with besides the water, you don't have an issue. The second place we use growers is almost every acre. We're using it as a pop-up fertilizer. It's the base fertilizer for our pop-up solutions. You asked a little bit of, do you mix some of this with water? Yes. We're putting on about 6 gallons to the acre through our pop-up, of which 2 gallons is growers. And then we may be adding in some additional potash, but we definitely cut it with water. It just seems that if we can get the gallonage up, we can control the rate a little bit better. So anything in furrow, that's what where we're using most of our growers, and then we're using, a gallon, 2 gallons at a time when we do a foliar treatment. Not often do we go out and put on just growers as a foliar treatment, but most of the time, if we're already making the move for an insect control or to control a disease, the growers is going in with it.
What type of soil do you predominantly have? Is this loamy clay, sandier, or have you got everything under the sun?
It's under, if you don't like the soil type you're on, take 2 steps. It's very, variable within field. Very seldom
Sure.
will you have a whole, 5 acre, 10 acre field with one soil type. And we
Sure.
have Husic gravelly loams, some clay loams, but most of our soils are either well drained or excessively well drained. So, a lot of moisture sometimes doesn't bother us. But when we get into a dry situation, just like Randy said, man, we were coming up on the drought monitor almost all the way from July until just recently. And what was really the most challenging part of this season, as far as growing concerned, it started raining about the 20th of April. And we had the wettest May we've had in like 15 years. And June was almost right behind it as far as being excessively wet. Turned around, the faucet turned off in July and never turned back on. And so as we're harvesting grain corn, and we're trying to right now, if it would stop snowing, we had 3 inches of snow on the ground 2 mornings ago. It's
Sure.
we tell everybody our growing season is 9 months of winter and 3 months of rough sledding. So it's a little bit short, and we're trying to get corn harvested. Our yield monitor is showing us anywhere where there was, moisture or a wet area in the field did poorly. Any place where there was no moisture, a dry area in the field, is yielding poorly. It's only doing average in between. So all of our fields are basically showing less than stellar production for this year. And what are you going to do? Nothing was cheap either in the spring, by the way.
So,
everything was expensive.
yeah.
I just hope my
So,
banker has a good sense of humor.
So you're basically what's your split as far as vegetable farming and then like row cropping per se? And I assume that's all. You don't have any livestock. I assume all that's
Yeah, we
going to
have
market.
100 Black Angus beef cattle. Somebody asked us why we have beef cattle.
Oh, really?
They are basically our garbage cans. Sweet corn, vegetables, pumpkins, anything that we can't sell, we turn it into meat. And if we run short of meat here at the house, there's just gunfire, and we'll put another one in the freezer. But we sell. We're a cow calf operation. We sell feeder calves, and we have a split herd. We have a herd in the spring that calve out about 40 in the spring, and we calve out about another 35 in the fall, September, October. And so we're selling 2 calf crops a year. We do about 200 acres of vegetables, of which about 180 of it is sweet corn, fresh market. We have about 20 acres of pumpkins and winter squash, and another 10 acres of miscellaneous vegetables, mostly grown on plastic. Plastic mulch. We have raised bed plastic mulch we put in with the drip tape, and that's another spot where we use growers almost exclusively for our phosphorus needs. We're putting, I would say we may be upwards to 6 to 7 gallons to the acre of growers over the entire season, go down the line in the drip system, along with other fertilizer nutrients, including a lot of calcium, calcium thiosulfate and things like that to, provide calcium. But
Sure.
we also
So
have 300 acres of grain corn, 200 acres of small grains. We make a lot of straw and hay. We have about 500 acres of hay that we're putting into either big square bale. If we have a bale of hay that is not saleable quality, well, it goes to the beef cattle. And believe you me, I mean, if the next best choice is snow, they're going to eat it. So,
so again, you're selling some of the hay to like big dairies and that type
oh
of thing
yes,
then?
yep. A good share of our customer
Sure.
base is, livestock operations, whether it be beef or dairy cattle. And we also have the horse
Sure.
trade for small square bales. This year we'll do about
I got you.
25,000 small square bales, and we'll do somewhere around 7,000 big square bales, hay and straw. And the small square bales are still very popular with the hobby horse people. We've seen that market decline a little bit over the last few years. Used to be that every teenage girl wanted to have a horse, and now I think they want to have a cell phone. And so now we just have fewer horses, hobby horses in the area than we used to. And we don't deliver long distance. Everything is, within 40 miles, 35, 40 miles of here. So that's our market for
Sure.
our hay crops. Our
Understand.
vegetable crops are almost entirely wholesale. We direct store deliver to supermarket chains, to other farm stands, and we have brokerage houses in the New York and Boston market that we deal with almost exclusively during the summer. And it's a lot of logistics, getting out and getting wheels under this stuff, getting it harvested, packaged, cooled. We have ice makers. We make 12 ton of ice a day to ice the produce and top ice the corn. So we got a lot of irons going on, and my job is to put out fires.
Which I'm sure there can be quite a few.
Some days, but I enjoy
So
it. It can be stressful, but I certainly enjoy it. And I am probably the most fortunate guy on the planet to have two boys. Matt's 38, Andrew's 34, and they just, oh my gosh, they're right foot to the floor downhill with a tailwind. I can't keep up. About 7 o'clock, I just see their backs going over the horizon in front of me, and I'll catch up. See, it's supper time, I'll catch up. But that's probably
yeah.
one of my best feelings, is the fact that I have two boys that really like farming.
So the one question I did have, are you doing any selling of beef to local people as far as hamburger and that type of thing?
Freezer trade? No, we started out a number of years ago, back when my dad was alive. We did do some freezer trade, and it takes a whole nother level of educational ability to educate people. You have to be a
Sure.
real people liker. I mean, and I am. I love visiting with people. Sometimes I get a little uptight when they read the book and want to tell me how it's done. But anyway, the freezer trade, it takes another level of concentration in the beef industry, and
Right.
we've pretty much focused our efforts in feeder cattle. And to be dead honest with you, just about every one of them go 7 miles from here to a feedlot at my father-in-law's farm, and he finishes them, and he's in the freezer, the freezer
I got
beef
you.
business, and it works for him. And I'm glad, and he's glad that we have the cattle. So it's a little bit of a closed system. The
Yeah.
interesting part of it is, though, every one of those cattle has to have papers because they cross state lines. we're he's in Massachusetts and we're in New York, and we're only 7 miles apart. And in order
I
to ship
gotcha.
them over there, they got to have paperwork. So it requires a vet, and but we get her done.
Sure, sure. Well, Larry, I really appreciate it. This this
Thank you
gives
so much for
guys
the
something
invite. And
to.
I really hope to see you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
again
No,
sometime.
we definitely the last time when I was on Larry's farm, we talked about it and tried to put it together, and he had some other commitments, so I thought I'd give him a whirl this time, and man, it worked out excellent. I
Oh,
really appreciate it. It gives
so
guys
glad I could
something.
help out, and glad
Yep.
Hey, Jim, I got a
for the
question
invite.
for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Hang on a second. Is that you, Marty?
Yes, it is. Did I hear he's running growers through trickle tape? What
Yes.
about hard water and that kind of thing? I want to know.
Back to testing the water, making sure that that's not an issue, and it isn't. But very good question, because if you don't have the right water to mix with the growers, whether it be going through the drip tape or through your sprayer or into your pop-up fertilizer for in-furrow treatment, you got some serious issues. So testing the water is extremely important, and John provided us with all the test kits we needed, and we did the tests and it worked. So we're like, okay, one problem we don't have to deal with. So that's good question, Marty.
Yeah, he would have the water, Marty, and wouldn't have to acidify like some of the guys you're looking at this point. So he was able to not worry about that going through the treatment phase.
Actually, Jim, I had a question for Randy, and I don't know if he's still on or not, but if he rotates out of Christmas trees, for many of the Christmas tree species, they require a very low pH for uh, good color, good health, that type of thing. Especially the Fraser firs, Canaan firs, that type of thing. Wondering what he does to keep the pH low for Christmas trees, and then turn around and lime the living hell out of it to get the calcium up for the pumpkin crop, and maybe he doesn't go back to trees. It might come out of trees and never go back. But just a question I had for him, how he does that, because we lime with a lot of high cal limes here. We're very fortunate where we are to have a source of high cal lime, and it, as he was saying, it just keeps put wheels under this crushed rock is costing a lot of money. Wow.
Mhm.
$45 a ton.
Yeah, yeah. I think we lost Randy. I can't
Okay.
find him
But
on the thing.
if somebody
So
happens to chat with him, ask him, and
we'll
have him give me a holler.
yeah, we'll put that assignment to John Sensenik, and John will get
Alrighty.
to the bottom of that for you.
Good for John. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate it, Larry, very much.
Yep.
So, Curvin, hey, I see you muted yourself. If you can unmute yourself, I'd like to bring you on next. And Curvin is John's grandson, and he's going to tell you where he farms in New York, and dairy is his business. And we'll let him talk a little bit about the dairy business, and then probably I don't know that Curvin's doing the beef on dairy at this point, but probably down the road he's going to be doing some of that. So it looks like you're unmuted, Curvin. Are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me there?
Yeah, no, great, great. So just introduce yourself and tell guys where you're farming at. And this is a young boy, and so he's tearing down silos, he's picking rock, he's doing all those fun things that us old guys just don't have the energy to do anymore. So talk a little bit about your operation and how things are going there, and uh, we'll see how you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, we're located up here along Lake Ontario, just on the west side of Tug Hill, kind of wedged in between, just north of Pulaski, Salmon River. There is the big fishing hotspot. So that's where we're farming. We got about 160 acres of tillable ground now. and try to do rotational cropping to get this dirt built back up. Trying to break it up between alfalfa and corn and beans. I want to do some pasturing also. Got about 50 cows, plus dry cows and young stock. Yeah, try to be self-sufficient. We are currently building a 20 by 80 silo, and we're going to try to be able to keep more corn silage and switch over to haylage instead of baleage. Hopefully cut out some plastic trash that goes to the landfill. So that's our next goal there. Not sure what else you want me to talk on, Jim.
What about the environment? Those first two guys said they were bone dry. What was your situation this summer?
Yeah, I can definitely echo. We had, yeah, super wet right into June. I don't think I got any corn planted before the 2nd of June, 21st for the end of it. So now about October, towards the end of October here, it suddenly started raining and raining and raining and raining. So yeah, we're soon going to be as wet as we were this spring, I believe. It's making it a little challenging. We got most of our crops off. Silage came off really nice. It was actually on the dry side because of the dry summer. Starch levels look really good. So we were happy on that. But soybeans, we had some weed issues. We didn't plant Roundup or E3s, and that kind of got us this year. We had a lot of trouble with berry bushes in them. I don't know if that's because of the dry weather. Maybe I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah, no, that'll give you a problem. So
Okay.
when you do the non-GMOs, you're basically using a pre-merge and then use a post-emerge if you've got escapes. Is that your approach?
I think we might try that. We didn't do pre-emerge. We did do post,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked good, but just about when they were shading over, we realized we had big problems. Mostly in the one field. It was kind of a tillage issue this spring. Forget which day it was. We had a chance to chisel for the first time, and we chiseled as late as we could. And the next morning we chiseled till it rained, and then it was like 2 weeks. No chiseling got done, and the weeds were where we chiseled the second time. They just got a real head start on us and must have reseeded themselves. So it was a big tillage deal for us this year.
Mm-hmm. So the farm that you bought and then that you're rectifying, this was an old dairy farm basically before you guys got a hold of it?
Yeah, yep. He hadn't changed much around here.
Mm-hmm.
He spread manure on the same fields for many years, I believe, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and he grew corn here and there, and that was about it. Did the hay on the rest. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So what was your modification as far as the dairy is concerned? What was your biggest issue that you wanted to get going as far as how you handle the cows?
well, we left it as a stall barn, but we definitely we just updated this summer to a tie stall instead of the old stanchions. Um, so we didn't go to freestall or parlor at this point. But yeah, that's a bigger pipeline. I want to do a bigger milk tank, and a handier feeding system was the number one thing we did. Manure pit, all those things that save you time and money in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And tiled the land. We did that so we could grow crops here at home.
What's your what's your ideal rotation? I mean, a couple years corn and then you go to beans and then wheat and hay, or what's your approach that way with rotation?
Yeah, I think that's what our long-term plan is going to be. I don't see much benefit of doing non-GMO corn for more than 2, maybe 3 years. I
Mhm.
noticed that the seems like bug pressure increases pretty rapidly on the third year
Mhm.
from even this land that we cleared trees off of. So that's kind of our goal. Yeah, I'm trying some wheat this year to see. I just got it down on my corn ground this fall. Gonna try to keep that, maybe put beans in if we can get it off early in the spring. And try to, yeah, do a little bit of double cropping. I really want to try to get into cover cropping along with calcium application, that type of thing. I think it'll be a good
Mhm.
combination for getting
What do you
heading there.
on the soybeans? Are you feeding those, Curvin, or you
I
roasting them,
did,
or
yeah, I did this year. I put some ammonia sulfate on, about 100 pounds of ammonia sulfate. Not that would be 100.
so? What's your take on this dairy business? The the experts are saying, with this beef on dairy thing, you've got a lot of dairy boys that are hanging on to some of these cows that aren't quite as productive, but their numbers are up so that the volume of milk is giving the industry a little bit of a problem. Is that the way you see it?
I kind of think that is some of the problem. Yeah, and
Mhm.
the extra processing capacity that was being built now, people are just going crazy to help fill that up
Mhm.
with not much worry about an end use for it at this
Mhm.
point. I don't
Yeah.
know. It could change pretty rapidly in the next administration. If you get more exports, you never know.
Mhm.
But at this point, yeah, it seems like they're just going crazy to build on with no worry about where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Theoretically, they're still saying these fat drugs, that people are using, they're actually appetite suppressors, so that these people aren't consuming enough protein, in their regular diet. And supposedly these MDs that are prescribing that are suggesting these people, go to a higher protein diet. And again, it's not all that, just doesn't mean more red meat. They're using yogurt and they're using cottage cheese and that type of thing to, increase that protein consumption. And with Trumper basically signing that deal to get the fat medications down, they claim that this is going to increase significantly. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I think the protein rage is helping us quite a bit, especially on class 3.
I
That's
got
kept
you.
the way I think it is
Right.
where they pull that out of. I'm pretty sure that makes a big difference on our price, but the whole milk price in general is really tapered off. But
Mhm.
yeah, with beef cross, the good managers that have a steady supply of beef cross calves coming through, that's a tremendous income maker for the farmer. I would say,
Mhm.
I don't know what percent, but I've heard some pretty big numbers with milk price dropping off.
Yeah. No, that, talking with the guys that, are in that position, they're totally, flattened by it, or they just can't believe, what's going on there. So,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
thing,
it
how
makes you
long that
feel a
thing's,
little.
how long that's going to last, that's hard to say. Yeah. You aren't doing any of that at this point, Irvin?
Just a few. I had one the other day. Yeah, it brought $16 a pound. So yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
what do you see in your area? I mean, are where they're buying cattle? Is that where guys are taking these calves to get those kind of prices, or do they have to ship or go somewhere special to get those kind of prices?
I'm not quite sure. You're saying like
Yeah,
for
in
what?
other words, if you got this beef on dairy and you got $100-pound calf worth 15, $15 a pound. Is you have to go to a special market to get that, or is that pretty easy to arrive at?
Oh, that was a local market right in Lowville. Yeah,
Yeah,
about 45 minutes out from us.
I got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no, it's all across the board.
Yeah.
That's kind of, it was on the high side. It must have been a nicer calf than I thought. I didn't really, well, of course I brushed it up a little bit, but you know.
Yeah. Understand. So basically, your rotation is, if you get to where you want to get, um, will you have enough silage, corn silage, or is that something that you're going to have to adjust to in order to make sure you got enough feed for the dairy?
Yeah, the corn's not a big problem for me. I had plenty this year. I
Hmm.
actually have some grain corn to sell this year. It's drying down slow. That's our biggest problem. I don't have a dryer bin. So no, the
Hmm.
corn silage and high moisture corn is not a as big of a problem for me as hay, because it's so hard for me to put seedings in with the rocks here. Um,
Right.
but no, I think beans is going to be a little more of a struggle to get enough roasted beans every year. It
Hmm.
seems like I'm going to have to plant a few more acres than my dad had to.
I got you.
Hey, Curvin, you hear me there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, you tell them how many rocks you got off per acre there on that one field for a hay seeding. How many tons?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was. Uh, yeah, I think it
And
was 10, at least 10 ton. Yeah,
yes, that sounds right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. He needs to get in the decorative rock business.
yeah. We got plenty.
Very good. Very good. Hey, thanks, Curvin. I really appreciate it. That gives the guys some idea where you're at, what you're up to, and how contaminated you got from your grandfather. So good luck to you, man, and I hope things go well for you. So, hey, Stanley, you're still on there?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I'm
very
here.
good. The next gentleman that we're bringing on is Stanley Sensenik. This is John's son, and Stanley will tell you where he's at, location wise, and what kind of farm operation he has. He does custom work and that type of thing too, and he works with John. Well, Curvin does too, repping for us. So these guys, they get out and talk to guys and have a feel for what's in the area. So Stanley, just introduce yourself and kind of tell guys exactly where you're located and what kind of operation you got going on there.
Yes, I'm right between the two biggest lakes, the Finger Lakes. So we got quite a diversity of agricultural around this area. A lot of vineyards and orchards to the north up towards Lake Ontario, and a lot of cash cropping and dairy here in our county, a bit of beef. So currently I'm doing uh, corn, beans, wheat, a little bit of oats, quite a bit of hay ground, and uh, and then I got a cow calf and fat main cattle beef operation, nothing real large. And we do a little bit of custom work, mostly spraying anymore. We used to do a bit of combining, but we sort of got out of that. Do a little bit of no-till drilling. This year's been I can sort of echo what the other guys said. We started out with a wet spring, and we started planting. I think we started planting our first corn and beans on June 23rd, which is about a
Wow.
month later, good month later we normally do. And we pretty much planned it day and night. I think we got everything planned in 4 days. Started on a Monday afternoon and finished on a Thursday. We kept going all night just to get done. So then it turned off. We had good moisture. We planted a good population, and the corn and beans, everything emerged really nice for us because it was warm and the moisture was there. And then got dry. July, towards the end of July and August was just dry. So the beans struggled and the corn, but the beans averaged probably 15 bushel less than a normal year. So it wasn't a failure, but a lot of the top pods didn't finish filling out. We only got like one bean instead of three beans in some of the top pods because of the dryness in August. So that hurt us on yield there a little bit. And the corn I didn't do yet. We're hoping to do that next week because we planted 96-day corn the end of June. So I checked it a week ago and hand tested it. It was 24% hand checked.
Ooh, that's not bad for as late as you planted, man.
Yeah, so I was pretty happy with that. I planted it with the growers, and then I foliar fed it, and I made sure I think I put like NA on. I think I did 10 gallons instead of 15. I made sure I got plenty on.
Okay.
So I hit it pretty hard with the NA with the foliar feed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that helped me out because I had a neighbor tell me today some of their corn, which they planted like a week before me, to the south, and they were talking. Theirs was 32% a week ago, the same day I checked mine. So I feel the NA and the growers program definitely helped me out on the dry down, especially for a 96-day corn plant at the end of June.
You got that
I was
right.
a little nervous about it because I was trying to decide if I'm going to chop it or leave it for grain or what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll be okay. I don't know what the test weight's going to be yet. That's to be determined. But
Stanley, talk a little bit about the volume you plant with, and then what's your foliar feed? What do you shoot for in total gallons per acre of growers on your corn?
on the corn, I do 4 to 5 gallons. I usually end up with about 4.5. I just have electric pump on my planter, nothing real technical, but I end up with usually around that 4.5. Then a foliar feed with another 3 gallons on NA.
Mm-hmm.
About,
so you're in that 7.5 range total gallons.
Yes. And
what are you doing? What are you doing with nitrogen then, Stanley?
I'm putting half, not quite half of it down when I plant, and then I come in and put the rest down drop tubes. So I'm getting about 130 units of N total.
Okay.
So last year we got 200 bushel corn. This year with the drought, the ears are small. They're filled out, but they're smaller. I'm thinking we're probably going to be in that 150, 140, maybe 150. I don't know for sure, but population's really good. Every plant came because it was warm and we had the moisture.
Sure.
I planted 33,000, and that's what I'm finding when I did my stalk count.
I gotcha.
Is exactly what I planted. So we have very good germination.
Sure.
I did have one neighbor across the road, a custom sprayer guy. He said my corn is the most even corn that he saw, and all he does sprays a couple thousand acres every year. Custom sprayer guy, and he did notice that my corn is the most even corn he saw. So that was a nice comment from him.
Your upfront nitrogen, are you using urea, ammonium sulfate, a combination?
No.
What are you doing there?
No, all liquid nitrogen, 28%. I
gotcha.
put it down with the planter, and then I come in and drop tube the rest. Everything's liquid.
I gotcha.
And then the soybeans, I'm doing about 3 gallons with the drill at planting, 2.5 to 3. I'm putting a total of 10 gallons down just because of the way it's set up with the orifices. And so I'm cutting it with water, but I'm getting about a total of 2.5 to 3 gallons of growers per acre. But that's on a drill, so a 7.5-inch space.
7.5.
So.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm spreading it out over a bigger area because I'm narrow rows.
Yeah.
And then I come back in and foliar feed it. Same deal as the corn, DNA. I do 1 foliar, about 3 gallons later on. 2.5 to 3. I vary that sometimes, depends on the fields.
So chat a little bit about your limestone application, Stanley. What's your approach there? And is that, are you able to get lime pretty readily? And is it
Yeah,
getting
so
more
yeah,
expensive
so
like everybody, these guys are talking about?
yes, it is. To keep the local quarry here has a good fine calcium that we use. It's like powder when they grind stone for asphalt. It's powder that comes off. They collect it, and get in the summer it's very dry and it almost runs like water when you dump it out of the dump truck.
I gotcha.
If it depends on the moisture content, but so it's a real fine product. And I try to put some on in my wheat rotation every year when I take my wheat off. I always put a couple ton of lime, 2 to 3 ton on, more of a maintenance thing. So
Sure.
that comes around every 4 or 5 years, on the wheat. So that's what I've been doing. But most of my fields had a good 10 ton, 15 ton, per acre in the last 20 years. So they're all more than a maintenance program than trying to build it up. So, I just do it in the summer after I take weed off. That way the ground's dry and I can dump it right in the field
So
and spread it.
what kind of dirt are you working with, Stanley? I mean, is this?
It's clay soil, maybe a little bit of loam, clay loam, topsoil, really heavy clay subsoil, poor percolation. So we do have a bit of drainage tile in pattern tile, and a wet spring, a lot of heavy rains really affects us. So that's the calcium I think helps there.
Sure.
I usually try and do a little bit of subsoiling occasionally on some fields, after I put the calcium on, make sure I get the drainage. So I do
So what
some
are you
tilling.
doing any no tilling, Stanley, or how's that?
Yes, I am. I do no-till on my soybeans and my wheat mostly. So, in the corn ground I worked, and the wheat ground when I put lime and some manure on in the summer and put a cover crop of oats in after wheat, I work that in, and then in the spring I'll go in and no-till soybeans into that ground, and that's been working really well. So it's not sort of a mix of tillage and no-till. That's worked out real well for me. I've been doing that a number of years. One of the reasons I do that is because of our heavier soil. Doing tillage in the spring can be a little challenging, so I found I can usually get planted a bit earlier without having to work the soil too much. That's
What
been a
are
big
you
plus.
doing with beans? Are you non-GMO or are you using genetically modified beans?
No, I'm all non-GMO. I never did use GMO beans. We've been non-GMO for about 26 years now. So we
What
do
about
all
the corn?
pre-merge. Corn's non-GMO too. We're 100% non-GMO in our crops.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we always have been, and I like to joke with my neighbors that my non-GMO beans are cleaner than their Enlist or Roundup beans, but it's always an ongoing competition. But we do pre-merge on the beans, and very very this summer I had a little bit of grass come through, so I'll go in with like tap out from Helena there, and that'll
Sure.
cleans that up real nice. Broadleaves are the tricky one, but you do a proper burn down in the spring and some pre-emerge, right when I plant soybeans. I had very good success with that, and the rotation. I never do beans on beans. I always rotate them out every year.
Right. Right.
But that's a plus too. So it's a management thing. Non-GMO works, but you just got to manage it like we did back in the 80s.
Sure. Yep.
you remember what that was like. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, like the guy said, I was growing 200 bushel corn before GMOs came along. So
right.
again, a
Well,
lot of guys think they can do that.
yeah, like last year I grew non-GM. I mean, I always grow non-GMO corn, but last year we did 200 bushel. You know, I did
Hmm.
as good as everybody else in the neighborhood because,
Hmm.
and I've been real happy with that. You know, the cost of seed per bag is on that 150 to 175 a bag, depends what varieties you got, and
Sure.
very economical. So, and
Yep.
I sell, you know, when I sell my extra corn and extra beans, last year I think I got 50 cents a bushel more for my non-GMO corn,
Hmm.
and
You
and the
you got
beans,
that
the
local
soybeans,
the local feed mill that takes the non-GMO stuff too, Stanley?
they do, but I shop around. A lot of my non-GMO goes to like last year it went down to Virginia because they had it dry. There's a non-GMO mill down there, so they actually truck my corn 7 hours away.
Wow.
Um, and I still made 50 cents a bushel more than I could have sold it local. Because our
Could
local
be.
non-GMO market isn't real strong, so I
I
sort of
gotcha.
shop around. Like my soybeans, they'll go to central Pennsylvania. They're paying a premium down there, about 50 cents. So even with the trucking included, I'm still making at least 50 cents a bushel more
Hmm.
on corn and beans. Beans
Sure.
sometimes in the past they were up to like $1 premium for non-GMO, but right now it's around 50 cents that came back. So
Yeah,
there's a
no,
little bit of benefit there.
there's been some strength
The
in the
little,
bean market. So
yes, yeah. So I always shop around, see where I can sell, try and get the best price on the non-GMO market because that's what I grow. So it sort of correlates into my beef operation, like I do the cow calf and then a fat moon beef. So when I sell my beef, I sell them sort of as all natural. They're all
right.
non-GMO feeds,
Hmm.
all no no hormones, no antibiotics, no vaccines. They're
Sure.
pretty much they're born, raised on the farm, and I market them all my own feeds. So I market them that way, and it seems to be working pretty well. I have a lot of repeat customers, and it keeps increasing every year. So
That's good. Yeah.
they're happy with that. Seems to be, there's people looking for that. You just got to find the market.
Yep. Nope. It's definitely a market developing. This thing with Kennedy
Right.
and the Trump
I
administration, it's
Yes,
it's definitely
yes.
there. No doubt about it.
People are, yeah, they want to know how their cattle are raised, and
Yep.
so that's been a plus on that. So that's what I do, feed my own cattle out with that, and
Okay, very
make the
good,
beef that
Stanley. Hey,
way.
we're here at 10 o'clock, so some of the guys are falling asleep on us. So we're gonna
Okay.
cut her off, and I appreciate it. You guys did an excellent job this evening, giving guys background on what you guys are doing. We just really don't have any time for current event stuff, other than keep in mind
Right.
tomorrow the government's coming out with that. Wozni report, and the government's been shut here for better than a month, and so how they're going to come up with these numbers, there's a lot of chatter on the advisory lines that they're going to cut this yield pretty good, pretty big time for the corn. And they say if they whittle a little bit on the beans, this bean market could really show some fire. Beans have really been coming back without the Chinese doing a lot of buying. So everybody's kind of confused how that's going on. So again, that report will come out. It's usually at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm assuming that it will be the same. The only thing I'm going to say about current events, guys, is I'm sitting here. We tried to load some corn this evening. Our driver was a little bit late. So I got in a little bit late. Now I'm sitting there watching ABC News, and the lead story is about some toxic gas that has put a bunch of people in a hospital in Oklahoma. And guess what? It's a semi pulling anhydrous ammonia that sprung a leak. and that anhydrous drifted out into the parking lot. And they hospitalized, I don't know, 18 to 20 people. They got some people in intensive care unit. So again, the toxicity of anhydrous is, and that's the way they mentioned it in the article, and it was very interesting. And see, this is with this nitrogen price going up, guys. Anhydrous should have quite a bit of regulatory costs to it that the big companies have fought because it's a very cheap item for them to produce and sell it directly to the farm. And the farmers are looking for that cheap source so they can keep this high volume applied. So again, there's a lot of incongruencies here, but the safety factor is a big factor. And that's going to get a lot of play. And we got to see how the agricultural establishment, tamps this thing down a little bit. Because when it's the lead story on a major network, that's a problem. So, Russ, I'm going to turn it back to you, and you can kind of let these guys know. Actually, Russ doesn't know the next conference call is going to be in December. We have the Grand Rapids Vegetable Show that is going on that week, and then James is going to be running the conference call because Russ and I may be out of Dodge at that point, and that's going to be the focus, is guys that are in the vegetable industry, and James is going to run with it. So I really can't say what he'll have up his sleeve. So Russ, it's all yours to close her down.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for being on tonight. I think it was a good conversation. So we will talk to you guys in the next one, which Jim mentioned. Let's see the date of that one. Second Thursday will be the 11th of December. So take care. Bye.
Very good.
Thank you for listening to the Growers Mineral Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Growers Mineral for updates. To submit questions for the show, email contact us at growersmineral.com.